Have you ever stopped in the middle of your busy day and asked yourself, am I truly living or am I just moving through life on autopilot? Have you ever wondered if your daily choices are painting the masterpiece of your life, or if you're simply filling in blank spaces with routine fear or other people's expectations? If your life were a canvas, what colors would you use? Would you choose bold strokes of courage or soft shades of gratitude? Would you let mistakes stay hidden, or would you transform them into shadows that give depth to the picture? Too often, we believe that happiness comes only after reaching certain milestones, wealth, success, recognition. But what if the true masterpiece is not the final product, but the person we are becoming through every challenge, every lesson, and every small act of awareness? In this series, we are going to explore what it means to turn life into art, not by chasing perfection, but by embracing growth. We will reflect on why the limits we imagine are often illusions, how gratitude can transform ordinary days into extraordinary moments, and why even misfortune can become a teacher when we face it with openness. Along the way, we will look at how ancient Stoic wisdom blends seamlessly with modern life, guiding us to focus on what we can control, to accept what we cannot, and to live with courage and clarity. This journey is not just about reaching goals. It's about understanding that who you become in the process matters far more than what you achieve at the end. Every step you take, every failure, every triumph, every pause to breathe is part of the art. And when you learn to see it this way, life itself becomes something worth celebrating no matter where you stand today. Now I invite you, as you listen, ask yourself what part of your life feels like a true masterpiece right now, and what part is waiting for new colors. Share your reflections in the comments below, because your story might be the inspiration for someone else's journey. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll walk this path of awareness, resilience, and transformation, one mindful step at a time. When we hear the word masterpiece, our minds usually jump to a painting in a museum, a symphony that moves generations, or a novel that survives centuries. But have you ever considered that your life itself is your greatest work of art? Unlike a canvas locked in a frame, life is a living artwork, ever-changing, alive with mistakes, corrections, bright colors, and shadows. The question is not whether you are creating a masterpiece, but whether you are doing it consciously or unconsciously. To turn life into a masterpiece, the first step is to recognize that you are the artist. Too often, people live as if they are passive observers, as if someone else is holding the brush. Society, family expectations, or fear of failure often dictate what colors to use and where to place them. Yet the truth is that no one else can create your life for you. The courage to pick up the brush, to make deliberate choices, and to claim authorship over your own days is the foundation of living artfully. Think of an artist working on a canvas. Every stroke matters, but no single stroke defines the entire painting. Some strokes are bold and daring, others subtle and almost invisible. The same is true in life. The choices you make each day, the books you read, the people you surround yourself with, the way you speak when you're frustrated, are all brushstrokes. Over time, they accumulate into a larger picture. If you neglect them, the canvas looks messy and directionless. But if you approach each one with awareness, you begin to create something coherent, meaningful, and beautiful. A masterpiece is never built overnight. It is the result of patience, attention, and resilience. Too many people rush through their days, hoping one grand achievement will define them. But life's art is not in the occasional fireworks. It is in the daily practice of living with intention. When you approach each moment as a chance to refine the canvas, you transform even ordinary routines into sacred rituals. Washing the dishes can be a meditation in clarity. Walking to work can become a moment to breathe in gratitude. Conversations with loved ones can be opportunities to add richness and depth to the story you are telling with your life. Equally important is the acceptance of mistakes. Every artist smudges a line, every musician plays the wrong note, but what distinguishes a true master is the ability to integrate errors into the whole composition. In fact, what we call flaws often become the most memorable parts of the artwork. A scar in the paint may turn into a shadow that gives depth. A wrong note may shift the mood of a piece in an unexpected but moving way. In life, failures, heartbreaks, and disappointments function the same. They don't ruin the masterpiece, they give it texture and authenticity. The courage to keep painting after a mistake is what creates art worth remembering. No masterpiece is created by playing it safe. The artist must dare to try new colors, new techniques, new perspectives. Likewise, if you want your life to be art, you must step outside your comfort zone, learn a skill that intimidates you, travel to a place that challenges your assumptions, or start a project you've been postponing out of fear. These bold strokes may not always succeed, but they inject vitality into the canvas. Without them, the painting becomes flat and lifeless. Artists often step back from the canvas to see the bigger picture. In our lives, this is the practice of self-reflection, pausing to evaluate whether our daily choices align with our values. Journaling meditation, or simply sitting in silence at the end of the day, can serve as that stepping back. Without reflection, we risk getting lost in details and losing sight of the whole composition. With reflection, we notice where the painting needs balance, where colors are clashing, and where more light can be introduced. Finally, a masterpiece requires both light and shadow. Many people think of happiness as the absence of pain, but in art, contrast is what creates beauty. The same sunrise that makes a painting glow needs the darkness of night to make its brilliance visible. In life, hardships are not enemies of beauty. They are its companions. The depth of your struggles allows the brightness of your joys to shine more vividly. Embracing both light and dark, joy and sorrow is essential if you want your life to have the richness of true art. Imagine two people, one who achieves external success, wealth, recognition, and comfort, but does so without reflection, without gratitude, and without growth. Their life may look polished on the outside, but lacks depth, like a painting with glossy colors but no story behind it. The other person may face countless failures, may stumble and fall, but in the process becomes wiser, kinder, and more resilient. Their canvas may be messy, but it tells a story of courage, humility, and transformation. Which of these two lives feels more like a masterpiece to you? So turning life into a masterpiece is not about chasing perfection or external validation. It is about living intentionally, accepting flaws, daring to experiment, reflecting regularly, and embracing both the light and the shadow. Every breath, every choice, every setback is part of the art. And the beauty of it all is that the canvas is never finished. You always have the chance to add new colors tomorrow. The Stoics remind us that the true masterpiece lies not in what we possess, but in who we become. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The perfection of moral character consists in this: to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense." This simple reminder anchors us in the present moment. Epictetus too taught that external events are beyond our control, but our responses are always within our power. When you see life as a canvas, this means that the world may splash unwanted colors on your painting loss, failure, injustice, but you still decide how to blend them into the work. The art of living in stoic thought is the art of aligning our actions with virtue, no matter what happens around us. And that is the brushstroke that never fades. If you pause for a moment and look closely, you will realize that most of the obstacles holding us back are not walls built by the world, but fences we ourselves have drawn in our minds. These are what we call imaginary limits. They are the beliefs, fears, and assumptions that whisper, "You can't do this even before we try." They disguise themselves as truth, but in reality they are stories we repeat until we start to believe them. Think about the last time you wanted to attempt something bold, a new career, a creative project, or even a deeper relationship. What stopped you? For many, it wasn't a lack of resources or an unmovable circumstance. It was the quiet voice of doubt. I'm not good enough. I don't have the time. People like me don't succeed in that arena. These limits feel real because they live inside us, but they are not facts. They are interpretations. And the good news is that interpretations can be challenged, reframed, and rewritten. Imaginary limits can be divided into two broad categories: internal beliefs and external projections. Internal beliefs are the self-imposed rules we unconsciously adopt, like I'm too old to learn or I'm just not creative. External projections are when we take someone else's opinion or societal expectation and internalize it as law. For example, if society prizes financial success above all, we may believe that pursuing art or service work is impractical. But this is not truth. It's a cultural narrative that we have the power to question. One of the most dangerous aspects of imaginary limits is how they shape our behavior. A person who believes they are not smart enough for higher education will not even apply to universities. A person who believes love always ends in heartbreak may never fully open their heart. A person who believes entrepreneurship is too risky may never test an idea. The limit becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we act as if it were true. We never get the evidence to prove it wrong. So how do we overcome these invisible chains? You cannot fight what you cannot see. Start noticing the stories you tell yourself. Write them down. Ask yourself, is this a fact or is it an assumption? For example, I failed once. Therefore, I will fail again is not a fact. It's a fear disguised as certainty. By labeling it as such, you loosen its grip. Every time you hit a mental barrier, run a small experiment. If you believe you are too introverted to speak in public, try speaking in a small group first. If you think you don't have time to exercise, experiment with 10 minutes a day. These small tests often reveal that the imagined wall is actually a paper-thin curtain that disappears when touched. Much of our self-imposed limitation comes from fear of embarrassment or loss. But if you reframe failure as information, as feedback on what doesn't work, you no longer need to protect yourself so fiercely. Edison famously said he didn't fail 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. This perspective makes room for persistence, which is the enemy of imaginary limits. An expander is someone who embodies what you once thought was impossible. When you see a peer from a similar background achieve something you assumed was out of reach, your brain recalibrates. If it's possible for them, maybe it's possible for me too. This is why mentorship biographies and supportive communities are so transformative. They stretch our mental boundaries and show us new possibilities. Finally, overcoming imaginary limits requires self-compassion. Many of us hold back not because we lack ability, but because we fear the pain of imperfection. We wait until we are fully ready, which often means waiting forever. By embracing imperfection as part of the process, we free ourselves to act. Remember, the greatest artists, leaders, and thinkers all began imperfectly. Their masterpieces grew from flawed drafts, awkward beginnings, and countless revisions. Imagine Sarah, a 38-year-old woman who has always dreamed of writing a novel. For years, she told herself she didn't have the talent, that she was too busy with work and family, that only real writers get published. These were her imaginary limits. One day, she decided to challenge them by writing just 15 minutes every morning. At first, her pages were clumsy, but after a year, she had a completed manuscript. That manuscript may or may not become a bestseller, but the real victory was Sarah discovering that her imagined fences were never real. They were only shadows of fear. Once she walked through them, she expanded not only her skills, but also her sense of identity. She was no longer someone who wanted to write, but a writer. This story shows us the essence of overcoming imaginary limits. You don't destroy them by thinking about them. You destroy them by acting in spite of them. Action creates evidence. Evidence rewrites the story. And over time, the story becomes one of empowerment rather than restriction. The Stoics offer timeless wisdom on breaking free from imaginary limits. Epictetus taught that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but the opinions we hold about them. In other words, most limits live not in the world, but in our minds. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the external world will present obstacles, but the mind can choose how to see them as barriers or as opportunities for virtue. When you hesitate because of fear or doubt, recall this Stoic truth: control lies not in outcomes, but in effort, not in other people's approval, but in your own integrity. Imaginary limits dissolve when you focus on what is yours to control: your thoughts, your actions, your choices in the present moment. Step beyond them, and you live not as a prisoner of fear, but as a free creator of your destiny. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to forget that simply being alive is already a rare and fragile gift. We often measure our days by deadlines, bank balances, or social approval, but forget the small miracles quietly surrounding us, the warmth of sunlight on our face, the laughter of someone we love, the comfort of a safe place to rest. Staying close to the things that make you feel lucky to be alive is about reconnecting with these sources of gratitude. It is about reminding yourself that happiness does not only live in grand achievements, but in the ordinary, the overlooked, and the present moment. Ask yourself, what are the moments that spark a quiet sense of gratitude in me? For some, it's holding their child's hand. For others, it's sitting under a tree, feeling the breeze move through the leaves. For someone else, it might be a creative act, playing the guitar, painting, or cooking. These are not luxuries. They are the anchors that keep us grounded when life becomes overwhelming. By identifying them, you build a map back to your own sense of joy. But awareness alone is not enough. You must also choose proximity. Imagine you've identified that being in nature restores your sense of aliveness. If you only allow yourself to experience it once a year on vacation, the impact fades. But if you make a conscious effort to walk in the park twice a week, or simply to step outside at sunset, you are choosing to stay close to that which nourishes you. In a world full of distractions, this intentional closeness is a radical act of self-preservation. Think about running water, electricity, or the ability to call a friend across the globe. These would have seemed like miracles to people a century ago. Yet we treat them as invisible, focusing instead on what we lack. To counter this practice, the art of deliberate appreciation. Pause before drinking your morning coffee and imagine life without it. Consider the people in your life and ask yourself how empty things would feel without them. This doesn't mean living in fear of loss, but living in recognition of abundance. Another aspect of staying close to what makes you feel lucky is simplicity. Often we chase things that do not truly feed our sense of gratitude. Status possessions, constant novelty. These can be enjoyable, but they rarely sustain us. Real nourishment often comes from simple experiences, honest conversation, meaningful work, quiet reflection. By simplifying your life, you clear away noise and create more space for the things that truly matter. David, a young professional, was constantly chasing promotions. He believed his happiness depended on climbing the corporate ladder. Yet with each new title, the joy was short-lived. What truly made him feel alive was something he overlooked: his evening ritual of playing the piano. One day, after nearly quitting music due to busyness, he realized he had abandoned the very thing that made him feel lucky to be alive. So he shifted his priorities. He still worked hard, but he protected his piano time as if it were sacred. That decision changed his quality of life, not because his external world transformed, but because he chose closeness to what nourished his spirit. Staying close also requires courage, because sometimes the things that make us feel most alive don't fit societal expectations. Maybe you feel most alive when painting, though others call it a hobby, and urge you to focus on real work. Or maybe you find deep joy in volunteering while peers chase material rewards. It takes courage to honor what truly matters to you, even if it looks unimportant to others. But the truth is, your masterpiece of life cannot be painted with someone else's palette. You must choose your own colors. Finally, there is the element of impermanence. Knowing that nothing lasts forever makes staying close to what you love even more urgent. The people, places, and experiences that make you feel lucky to be alive are not guaranteed to stay. Instead of lamenting this fact, let it sharpen your attention. Spend time with loved ones now. Enjoy the sunrise today. Write the song while you still can. Each act of closeness becomes not just a moment of joy, but a defiance of impermanence. A declaration that you will not waste your chance to live fully. The Stoics were masters at recognizing the value of what we often take for granted. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This simple reflection turns ordinary mornings into extraordinary reminders. Epictetus also taught that we should never cling blindly to external things, but we should treasure them while they are here. To stay close to what makes you feel lucky is, in Stoic terms, to live with gratitude, without attachment. Enjoy the blessings, but do not become enslaved by them. By practicing awareness, appreciation, and presence, you live more fully in the now, transforming each day into proof that life itself is already enough. No one escapes misfortune. Illness, financial setbacks, broken relationships, and unexpected losses are part of the human condition. The question is not whether we will encounter hardship, but how we will face it. To some, misfortune feels like a final verdict, stripping away all hope. To others, it becomes a catalyst for strength, compassion, and transformation. The difference lies not in the circumstances themselves, but in the attitude with which they are met. Facing misfortune with a positive attitude does not mean pretending everything is fine. It does not mean suppressing pain or denying difficulty. Instead, it is about cultivating the courage to look hardship in the eye and choose how to respond. Misfortune may shape the external conditions of our lives, but our inner world, our perspective, our values, our capacity for resilience remains within our control. When something painful happens, our first instinct is often resistance. Why me? This isn't fair. But resistance only adds another layer of suffering. Acceptance is not resignation. It is the recognition that what has already occurred cannot be undone. By acknowledging reality, we free ourselves from the exhausting fight against what cannot change, allowing energy to be directed toward what can. Human beings have an extraordinary ability to endure suffering when they can find meaning in it. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." Misfortune strips away comfort, but it can also strip away illusions, forcing us to confront what matters most. For some, it awakens compassion. For others, it strengthens discipline or deepens faith. Meaning transforms misfortune from random cruelty into a teacher. Even in moments of great loss, something endures, whether it is your breath, the support of a friend, or the beauty of the natural world. Gratitude is not meant to minimize suffering, but to remind us that misfortune does not define the entirety of our existence. By focusing on what remains, rather than only on what is lost, we widen our field of vision and reconnect with hope. Misfortune often makes us feel powerless, yet there is always something we can do, even if small. A sick person may not control their illness, but they can control how they treat themselves and others during it. A job loss may close one door, but open the chance to explore paths previously ignored. When we exercise even a fragment of choice, we reclaim dignity from misfortune. Hardship often isolates us. We feel no one can understand our pain. Yet paradoxically, misfortune can connect us more deeply with others. When you face suffering and still find the strength to listen, comfort, or serve others, you remind yourself that pain does not erase your humanity. In fact, it expands it. Helping someone else in your own moment of struggle may not solve your problems, but it affirms your worth and gives misfortune a redemptive quality. Maria, a single mother, suddenly lost her job when the company she worked for closed down. She had 2 children, bills to pay, and little savings. At first, she felt crushed by despair, but after a few weeks of grief, she began reframing her situation. Instead of seeing herself as a victim of bad luck, she saw it as an opportunity to rebuild. She enrolled in night classes to learn new skills, relied on the support of her community, and found a part-time job to stay afloat. The process was not glamorous. It was exhausting and uncertain. Yet Maria discovered strengths she never knew she had: resourcefulness, patience, and courage. Years later, she described losing her job not as the end, but as the beginning of her true independence. This story reveals the essence of a positive attitude in misfortune, the ability to take pain and transmute it into growth. The hardship itself does not magically become good. Losing a job, a loved one, or one's health will never be easy. But the way we respond determines whether misfortune leaves us broken or transformed. Finally, facing misfortune positively is about trusting impermanence. Nothing, whether joy or sorrow, lasts forever. This truth can feel harsh, but it is also liberating. Just as happiness fades, so too does suffering. Knowing that misfortune is not permanent helps us endure it with patience. Life will not always take the form we desire, but seasons shift, and what feels unbearable today may become tomorrow's source of wisdom. The Stoics provide powerful tools for confronting misfortune. Epictetus taught that external events are beyond our control. What matters is our judgment of them. He himself was born a slave and lived with physical disability, yet he declared, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Marcus Aurelius, facing constant wars and personal losses, reminded himself that obstacles were not curses, but opportunities to practice virtue. patience, courage, justice, misfortune, from a Stoic perspective, is the training ground of character. It strips away comfort, revealing whether we live according to virtue or convenience. To face misfortune with positivity is not to erase pain, but to meet it with dignity, seeing it as part of the natural order and as fuel for the inner strength no external event can destroy. Human beings are wired to set goals. From childhood, we are taught to chase milestones, grades, jobs, promotions, marriages, possessions. Each target carries the promise of happiness. Once I get there, then I'll finally feel complete. Yet how many times have you reached a long-sought goal only to find the satisfaction fleeting? The diploma that once seemed monumental becomes a piece of paper on the wall. The promotion you worked so hard for brings a pay raise, but also new stress. This is not to say goals are meaningless. They matter, but the true treasure lies not at the finish line. It lies in who you become while traveling toward it. We live in a culture obsessed with outcomes. Advertisements promise happiness if we buy the right product. Hustle culture glorifies the next achievement, and social media magnifies the highlight reels of others' successes. The result? We begin to believe that life only starts when we arrive somewhere, whether at financial security, recognition, or a certain body shape. But this is a mirage. Arrival never truly arrives because the mind immediately sets a new target. This endless cycle leaves us perpetually chasing and rarely present. The deeper truth is that the goal itself is only a direction, not the essence of transformation. Consider the runner training for a marathon. The value is not the medal at the end. It is the countless mornings of discipline, the strength gained, the resilience learned, the mental focus sharpened. If the marathon were cancelled the day before, would all that training be worthless? Of course not. The person has already become stronger. The process is the reward. In careers, the same principle applies. You may aim for a high position in your company, but the late nights learning new skills, the practice of leadership, the patience cultivated in teamwork, all of these shape your character. Long after the title fades, the person you became in pursuit of it remains. Focusing solely on goals carries hidden dangers. It can lead to burnout as you sacrifice health, relationships, and joy in the name of achievement. It can create tunnel vision where you ignore opportunities that arise outside the narrow path toward your target. And perhaps most insidiously, it can lead to emptiness, the sense of, is this all there is, when the long-awaited goal does not deliver lasting fulfillment? Without valuing the journey, we risk building a life full of trophies, but devoid of meaning. To shift our focus, we must learn to savor the path itself. This means celebrating small wins, finding purpose in daily effort, and viewing obstacles not as interruptions, but as integral parts of growth. When you climb a mountain, the summit may be breathtaking, but the richness comes from the climb, the changing landscapes, the sweat, the lessons, the camaraderie. Life is no different. One powerful practice is to set process-oriented goals alongside outcome goals. Instead of saying, I will publish a book, commit to, I will write 500 words every morning. Instead of, I will lose 20 pounds, commit to, I will nourish my body with balanced meals and exercise 4 times a week. The outcome may or may not come exactly as planned, but the daily practice guarantees growth. Imagine 2 students preparing for an important exam. Anna studies only with the exam in mind, cramming facts, anxious and exhausted. She passes the exam, but forgets most of the material within months. Ben, however, studies with curiosity. He engages with the material, discusses it with peers, and enjoys the process of learning. He too passes the exam, but more importantly, he has cultivated a deeper understanding and a love of learning that will benefit him far beyond this test. The difference is clear. Anna achieved the goal but missed the journey. Ben achieved both. Ultimately, the journey matters more because it shapes your identity. Goals are external. They can be taken away by circumstances beyond your control. But virtues such as patience, discipline, creativity, kindness, these become part of who you are. They are the real trophies of life. When your journey is filled with conscious effort, even failures become victories because they refine your character. Another aspect of valuing the journey is learning to pause. Too often, we race forward without noticing the scenery. Pause to acknowledge progress, to appreciate the support of others, to breathe in the present. These pauses are not detours. They are part of the journey itself. Imagine reading a novel but skipping every chapter to reach the end. That's what it's like to live only for goals you miss the story. The Stoics remind us that the essence of life is not in outcomes, but in virtue cultivated along the way. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Wasting time often means living only for distant goals, blind to the present. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily to act with justice, temperance, and courage. Virtues practiced moment by moment, not at some future finish line. Epictetus taught that external achievements are never fully under our control, but our effort, our attitude, and our discipline are. In Stoic thought, the journey is everything because it is where character is formed. The destination is uncertain, but the virtues cultivated along the path are permanent. In a world that constantly demands our attention, presence has become a rare commodity. We live in an era of endless notifications, multitasking, and relentless planning for the future. Yet amid this noise, the most transformative gift we can give ourselves and others is presence. The simple, profound act of being fully here now. The power of presence lies in its ability to cut through distraction, anchor us in reality, and awaken us to the richness of life that is often hidden in plain sight. You can be sitting across from someone and still be a million miles away in your mind. True presence means that your body, mind, and attention are aligned with the moment in front of you. When you are present, you notice details, the tone of a friend's voice, the texture of your food, the colors of the sunset. This awareness enriches experience, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Think of the last time someone truly listened to you without distraction. How rare and how powerful did that feel? To be present with another person is to communicate you matter. This moment matters. In relationships, presence is often more healing than advice, more supportive than any material gift. By contrast, the absence of presence carries heavy costs. Constant distraction breeds shallow relationships, unfinished work, and a restless mind. It leads to living in two worlds at once, the physical present and the mental elsewhere. This split attention makes us less effective, less joyful, and more anxious. Studies in psychology confirm that when the mind wanders excessively, people report lower happiness, even if they are wandering to pleasant thoughts. Why? Because the mind resists what is longing for what is not. Presence dissolves that resistance. Cultivating presence does not require radical change. It requires intentional attention. Take eating, for example. Many people consume meals in front of screens, barely noticing the flavors. But eating mindfully, savoring each bite, feeling gratitude for the nourishment transforms an ordinary lunch into a ritual of presence. The same applies to work. Multitasking may seem efficient, but research shows it reduces productivity and increases mistakes. By focusing fully on one task at a time, you not only complete it more effectively, but also experience a sense of flow, an immersion in the present that is deeply satisfying. Even waiting in line can be an opportunity for presence. Instead of scrolling your phone, notice your breath, the sounds around you, the humanity of those standing beside you. Life offers countless invitations to return to now if we accept them. Presence is also a gateway to inner peace. Anxiety thrives on the future, what might happen, what could go wrong. Regret lives in the past, what should have been, what was lost. Presence is the antidote because it roots us in the only place where life actually happens, this moment. When you are fully here, the weight of past and future loosens and a quiet clarity emerges. Problems do not vanish, but they shrink to their actual size, no longer magnified by the imagination. Why then is presence so difficult? One barrier is habitual distraction. We have trained ourselves to seek stimulation, to fill silence with noise. Another is fear of stillness. To be present means facing ourselves, our emotions, our emptiness, our vulnerability. Many people avoid presence because it feels uncomfortable at first. Yet just as physical training strengthens muscles, practicing presence strengthens the capacity to be with ourselves honestly. Practices for cultivating presence. Simply noticing the inhale and exhale anchors you to now. The breath is always present, always accessible. Commit to doing one thing at a time. Writing an email without checking messages. Eating without watching TV. When speaking with someone, resist the urge to prepare your response. Just listen, notice, tone pauses and emotions. Create tech-free zones. No phones at meals, no screens, the first 30 minutes of the day. Daily reflection at the end of each day. Recall one moment when you felt truly present. Relive it to strengthen the memory of awareness. Consider James, a father, who realized one evening that though he spent hours with his children, he was rarely there. He was physically present but mentally occupied with work emails. One day, his daughter asked Daddy, "Are you listening?" That question pierced him. From then on, James began practicing presence, putting away his phone during family time, engaging fully in conversations, savoring play without rushing. The change was subtle yet profound. His children felt more loved, his own stress levels decreased, and his family bonds deepened. James discovered what presence really means, offering the fullness of yourself to the moment, not just your body. The Stoics, though living centuries ago, understood the value of presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." He recognized that past and future are illusions, and that wisdom is found in the discipline of attention to now. Seneca echoed this when he said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Using life well meant not scattering it across regrets and fears, but inhabiting it moment by moment. Epictetus taught that freedom comes when we direct our mind to what is within our control, our choices here and now. Presence, then, is not only a path to peace, but also to virtue. It is the stage on which courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom are practiced. Without presence, life slips through our fingers. With it, every moment becomes a chance to live fully. Pain is inevitable. It arrives in many forms: the sting of rejection, the ache of loss, the exhaustion of failure, the heaviness of uncertainty. While most of us try to avoid it, pain is woven into the fabric of being human. The critical question is not whether we will suffer, but what we will do with our suffering. Will it consume us, leaving scars of bitterness? Or can we transform pain into strength? a source of resilience, empathy, and wisdom. Pain is often misunderstood as purely destructive. In truth, it carries information. Physical pain warns us of injury, guiding us to protect and heal the body. Emotional pain signals that something matters deeply, a relationship, a dream, a hope. Rather than treating pain as an enemy, we can learn to see it as a messenger. Its message is rarely pleasant, but it can be profoundly useful if we are willing to listen. Strength does not develop in the absence of pain. It is forged in its presence. Muscles grow only by being stretched and torn, then rebuilt. Likewise, character grows when life challenges us beyond comfort. When you endure heartbreak and still choose to love, you build courage. When you fail and rise again, you build resilience. When you suffer and still extend kindness, you build compassion. Pain in this sense is not just something to survive, but something that sculpts us into stronger versions of ourselves. A powerful tool in transforming pain is reframing. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" shift to, "What can this teach me?" The event itself may remain painful, but the meaning you assign to it determines its long-term impact. Losing a job can be reframed as a chance to discover a new path. A failed relationship can be reframed as an opportunity to learn about yourself and grow in emotional maturity. Reframing does not erase grief, but it gives pain a purpose, and purpose is fuel for endurance. Many of the world's most impactful individuals have turned personal wounds into collective wisdom. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years of imprisonment, yet emerged not with vengeance, but with a vision of reconciliation. Maya Angelou transformed childhood trauma into poetry that gave voice to millions. Their examples show us that while pain isolates, it also connects. When we share the lessons of our suffering, others find strength through our story, and our pain becomes part of something larger than ourselves. Practical steps to transform pain. Denying or suppressing pain only deepens it. Give yourself permission to grieve, cry, or rage. Acknowledgement is the first step toward transformation. Journal about your experience or talk with someone you trust. Externalizing pain helps you see it with more clarity. Use your pain as fuel exercise, art volunteering learning. The act of creation or contribution turns suffering into momentum. Identify even small blessings that remain. Gratitude does not cancel pain, but it prevents despair from monopolizing your vision. Offering support to someone facing similar struggles reframes your pain as a source of empathy and purpose. Consider Alex, a man who dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. After years of training and injury, shattered his career prospects. At first, pain consumed him, anger, depression, hopelessness. But over time, Alex began volunteering as a coach for young athletes. His experience of loss gave him unique empathy for students struggling with setbacks. What began as a personal tragedy transformed into a new calling. He did not become the athlete he dreamed of, but he became a mentor who shaped countless lives. Alex's strength was not built in spite of his pain, but because of it. It may feel strange to call pain a gift, especially when you are in the midst of it. But looking back, many people recognize that their deepest growth came from their darkest seasons. Pain strips away illusions, forces us to confront ourselves, and teaches us the fragility of life. It reminds us what truly matters and reveals capacities we never knew we had. The gift is not the suffering itself, but the transformation it makes possible. The Stoics viewed pain as an inevitable part of existence and an opportunity for virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. For Stoics, suffering was the forge where character is tempered. Epictetus, once a slave who endured immense hardship, taught that adversity is the training ground of the soul. Difficulties show what men are. Pain in this light is not merely an obstacle, but a teacher sharpening courage, endurance, and wisdom. By accepting it as part of nature and using it to cultivate virtue, we transform what once seemed unbearable into the very source of inner strength. Gratitude is often mistaken for a polite thank you after receiving something, but in truth, gratitude is far more powerful. It is a way of seeing a lens through which we interpret life. At its deepest level, gratitude is the recognition that every breath, every relationship, every sunrise is a gift rather than an entitlement. When embraced fully, gratitude becomes more than a feeling. It becomes an inexhaustible source of energy for living. Modern psychology has confirmed what ancient wisdom long suggested. Practicing gratitude directly improves mental health. Research shows that people who regularly express gratitude experience lower stress, greater resilience, and stronger relationships. Gratitude shifts focus from what is missing to what is present, reducing the restless craving that fuels dissatisfaction. Instead of seeing life as a series of problems to be solved, we begin to see it as a series of blessings to be noticed. Why does gratitude give us energy? Because it changes our perception of effort. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One says, "I have to do this." The other says, "I get to do this." The task remains the same, but the energy differs completely. Gratitude transforms obligations into opportunities. It turns burdens into privileges. By reframing how we interpret daily experiences, gratitude provides motivation that no amount of willpower can sustain alone. Gratitude does not require extraordinary circumstances. It thrives in the ordinary. Consider eating a meal. Gratitude means pausing to recognize the chain of efforts, the farmer, the soil, the rain, the hands that prepared the food, or think about technology. Gratitude allows you to marvel at the fact that you can speak instantly with someone on the other side of the planet. By slowing down enough to acknowledge these realities, even mundane experiences become charged with appreciation. Gratitude also acts as a buffer against adversity. Life's hardships can feel crushing when we focus only on what has been taken away. Gratitude redirects our gaze to what still remains. A person facing illness may still feel gratitude for the support of loved ones. Someone who loses a job may still feel gratitude for the skills and knowledge they carry. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it prevents despair from dominating. It provides a foundation of hope on which endurance can stand. Cultivating gratitude requires practice. Here are some ways to embed it into daily life. Each evening, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They need not be grand. Even a warm cup of tea counts. Tell people directly what you appreciate about them. Gratitude expressed strengthens bonds and multiplies joy. Before routine tasks, drinking water, opening your laptop, pause briefly to feel gratitude for the hidden systems that make these tasks possible. While walking, notice things you often overlook: birdsong, architecture, fresh air. Name them silently as blessings. When something goes wrong, ask, "What can I still be thankful for in this situation, Sophia?" A young teacher once felt exhausted by her workload. Each day felt like a drain with endless papers to grade and little recognition. Her energy was fading. On a colleague's suggestion, she began keeping a gratitude journal. At first, her entries were small: the smile of a student, a kind word from a parent. Over time, she noticed her mindset shifting. The work had not changed, but her energy had. She realized that gratitude didn't just make her feel better. It gave her strength to continue to give more generously to her students. What once felt like depletion became renewal. Gratitude is also expansive. When we practice it, we naturally want to give back. A grateful person is more generous, more compassionate, more willing to serve. Gratitude recognizes that we are recipients of countless invisible contributions, and this recognition inspires us to contribute in return. Energy flows outward, not only sustaining our own lives, but enriching the lives of others. Finally, gratitude simplifies life. Instead of constantly chasing more, we appreciate enough. This does not mean we stop striving for growth, but that we do so without desperation. Gratitude grounds ambition in contentment, ensuring that our pursuit of improvement comes from joy rather than emptiness. In this way, gratitude becomes the bridge between striving and peace. The Stoics place gratitude at the heart of their philosophy. Marcus Aurelius began each morning reminding himself of the gift of being alive. When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. For the Stoics, gratitude was not dependent on external abundance, but on perspective. Epictetus taught that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. To practice gratitude is to align with nature, to accept each moment as sufficient. When adversity comes, gratitude points to what remains under our control, our reason, our virtue, our capacity to act justly. Thus, gratitude becomes not only an emotional practice, but a philosophical stance, a source of energy rooted in wisdom and resilience. Human beings crave control. We plan, schedule, calculate, and predict, believing that if we hold tightly enough to the steering wheel, life will bend to our will. Yet reality has its own rhythm, often indifferent to our desires. Illness arrives without warning. Jobs disappear. Relationships shift. Plans unravel. The truth, as uncomfortable as it may be, is that much of life lies beyond our control. To live well, we must learn the art of letting go, not as surrender to apathy, but as liberation from futile struggle. We fear uncertainty, so we try to manage every variable. But this sense of mastery is often an illusion. Weather changes, economies crash, people make choices we cannot predict. When reality defies our expectations, we feel anger, stress, or despair. The illusion of control does not protect us. It enslaves us to disappointment. Letting go of control does not mean living passively. It means focusing attention on the small but profound sphere where influence truly exists: our actions, our choices, our attitudes. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the outcome of every effort, but you can control the integrity of your effort itself. This shift of focus away from what is external toward what is internal is the key to freedom. When we cling to control, we drain energy fighting battles we cannot win. Consider someone obsessing over how others perceive them. Hours are wasted, rehearsing conversations, replaying interactions, worrying about approval. Yet perception lies entirely in other people's minds, not in ours. By trying to control the uncontrollable, we sacrifice peace and overlook what we could influence: our honesty, our kindness, our growth. Letting go of control brings relief. It lightens the burden of constant vigilance. When you accept that storms will come, Regardless of your preparation, you learn to bend like a tree rather than break. This does not mean you stop planning or caring. It means you no longer tie your worth to the outcome. You live with intention, but without attachment. You act with purpose, but without clinging to results. Practical ways to let go: on one side of a page, list everything worrying you. On the other, separate what is within your control and what is not. Commit only to what you can influence. Release the rest. Replace. I must make this happen with I will give my best effort. Language shapes perception. Gentle wording eases attachment. At day's end, review moments when you wasted energy on the uncontrollable. Imagine what peace might have come from letting go. Remind yourself that some of life's greatest gifts, friendships, opportunities, discoveries, arrived unplanned. Uncertainty is not only a threat, but also a possibility. Emma, a business owner, once tried to control every detail of her company. She micromanaged employees, obsessed over client reactions, and feared any setback. Eventually, exhaustion and frustration consumed her. At the advice of a mentor, she began practicing letting go. She delegated responsibilities, accepted that not every client would stay, and focused on her values rather than constant results. To her surprise, her business did not collapse, it thrived. By releasing her grip, Emma discovered not chaos, but growth. Letting go of control did not mean abandoning responsibility. It meant trusting others, trusting the process, and trusting herself. Here lies a paradox: when we stop clinging, we often gain more influence. A parent who releases the need to control every aspect of a child's life fosters independence. A leader who lets go of micromanagement inspires creativity in their team. By loosening our grip, we create space for others and for life itself to flourish. Ultimately, letting go of control requires embracing impermanence. Life is fluid, not fixed. People change, seasons pass, circumstances shift. To resist this truth is to suffer endlessly. To accept it is to find peace. When we stop demanding that the world conform to our plans, we discover the freedom to adapt, to learn, and to live with grace in the face of change. The Stoics built their philosophy around this very principle. Epictetus taught the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our power, our thoughts, choices, and actions, while everything else is not. Marcus Aurelius echoed this truth, reminding himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By focusing on what lies within our control, we reclaim energy wasted on the uncontrollable. Letting go, in Stoic terms, is not weakness but wisdom. It allows us to act with virtue in the present while accepting the flow of nature. Life's storms will come, but the Stoic does not curse the clouds. They adjust the sails. In this way, letting go of control is not giving up. It is gaining the deepest form of freedom. Change is the only constant in life. Seasons shift, technologies evolve, relationships grow and dissolve, our bodies age, and the world around us never stays still. Yet despite its inevitability, change remains one of our greatest sources of fear. We resist it, avoid it, or cling to what is familiar, even when the familiar no longer serves us. But without change, there can be no growth. To live fully, we must learn not only to accept change, but to face it with courage. The human mind craves stability, predictability, and control. Change disrupts this, shaking our sense of security. Losing a job, moving to a new city, or ending a relationship can feel like stepping into the unknown without a map. Our brains interpret uncertainty as danger, even if the change itself carries potential for growth. Another reason change frightens us is attachment. We grow attached to routines, people, identities, and comfort zones. When these are threatened, it feels like a part of us is being torn away. Even positive change, such as starting a new career or becoming a parent, can trigger fear because it requires leaving behind who we once were. Yet life without change would be stagnation. Imagine if nature refused to change, if winter never melted into spring, if seeds never transformed into plants, if rivers never flowed. Stagnation leads to decay. The same applies to us. Change challenges us to evolve, adapt, and discover new capacities. It is the raw material of growth. Consider a butterfly. Its transformation from caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly is dramatic and often used as a metaphor. Yet it is not optional, it is survival. Likewise, change in our lives may feel painful, but it is often the very process that allows us to become who we are meant to be. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move forward despite it. When facing change, courage allows us to step into uncertainty with trust. Courage says, I do not know exactly what lies ahead, but I will meet it with open eyes and an open heart. Without courage, change paralyzes us. With courage, it becomes a path of discovery. Practical approaches to facing change with courage. Instead of seeing change as loss, frame it as transition. Ask, what is this making possible? This shifts focus from fear to opportunity. While external circumstances shift, your core values can remain constant. By grounding yourself in values like honesty, compassion, or curiosity, you carry stability into uncertain times. Courage does not always mean giant leaps. Sometimes it is the small step forward, sending one application, having one difficult conversation that builds momentum. Reflect on times you faced change before and survived. This strengthens confidence that you can adapt again. Courage is not solitary. Sharing fears with friends, mentors, or community creates strength greater than your own. Michael, a man in his mid-40s, worked at the same company for over 20 years. When the company downsized, he lost his job. At first, he was paralyzed by fear. His identity, finances, and sense of purpose all seemed shattered. But instead of clinging to despair, Michael took small, courageous steps. He learned new digital skills, reached out to peers, and applied for positions outside his comfort zone. Eventually, he found a role that not only sustained him financially, but also rekindled his passion for mentoring younger employees. Looking back, he realized that losing his job, though terrifying, was the doorway to a new chapter. Michael's story illustrates that courage in the face of change does not erase fear. It walks alongside fear, reminding us that we are more adaptable than we think. When faced with change, it is easy to focus only on what we lose. But change also brings gifts. It introduces us to new people, perspectives, and possibilities. It teaches humility and that we are not masters of the universe. It cultivates resilience, proving that we can endure transitions and emerge stronger. And most importantly, it opens doors we might never have imagined if life had stayed the same. The Stoics embraced change as part of nature's flow. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accustom yourself to consider that the nature of the universe loves nothing so much as to change the things which are, and to make new things like them. For the Stoics, resisting change was resisting life itself. Epictetus taught that events are not good or bad in themselves. It is our judgment that labels them so. By aligning with nature, we learn to welcome change as necessary and purposeful. Stoic courage is not about controlling the tides of life, but about steering our character through them with integrity. When we accept change as inevitable and choose to meet it with courage, we live harmoniously with the very order of the universe. We often believe meaning is found only in great accomplishments, dramatic transformations, or life-changing events. Society celebrates the extraordinary, the Nobel Prize winners, the record-breaking athletes, the pioneers of history. Yet for most of us, life is not made of grand gestures, but of countless ordinary moments. And it is in these small, often overlooked moments that true meaning quietly resides. The fabric of life is woven from ordinary threads: a conversation with a friend, a shared meal, a walk in the neighborhood, the sight of the moon on a clear night. These are not interruptions in life, they are life. When we learn to honor small things, we realize that joy and significance are not postponed to some future achievement. They are available here and now. Small things matter because they accumulate. A single act of kindness may seem minor, but repeated daily, it shapes character and strengthens relationships. One moment of gratitude may feel fleeting, but practiced consistently, it transforms perspective. The small is powerful precisely because it repeats, echoing across days, until it forms a life rich with quiet meaning. Why do we often miss this truth? Because our culture trains us to look for meaning in the spectacular. Social media amplifies highlights, exotic vacations, promotions, glamorous events, creating the illusion that significance lies only in what is rare. As a result, we rush past daily experiences, dismissing them as mundane. But the extraordinary is built upon the ordinary. Without the patience of daily practice, no artist produces a masterpiece. Without the steady care of small gestures, no relationship thrives. Meaning arises not from scale, but from attention. Washing dishes can be a chore, or it can be a meditation on care for the home. Walking the dog can be a routine, or it can be an opportunity to savor fresh air and connect with nature. Preparing dinner can be a duty, or it can be an act of love for those you feed. The difference lies not in the act itself, but in the consciousness you bring to it. Consider the Japanese philosophy of ikigai, the reason for being. For many, ikigai is not a grand life mission, but the quiet satisfaction of tending a garden, brewing tea, or practicing a craft. Meaning lives in the quality of presence, not in the size of the act. Small things also carry great weight in relationships. A smile to a stranger, a text, checking in on a friend, a moment of genuine listening. These seem minor, but can shift someone's entire day. Often what people remember most about us is not a grand achievement, but a series of small acts of care that made them feel seen. Meaning grows when we recognize our power to bring light into someone's life in ways that cost little but matter deeply. Take Daniel, a man who worked as a janitor in a hospital. To memes, his job might have seemed insignificant compared to the doctors and nurses, but Daniel approached his work with intention. He greeted patients warmly, offered small words of encouragement, and took pride in making the environment clean and welcoming. Years later, former patients remembered him not for his title, but for the kindness he brought to their darkest days. Daniel's story illustrates that meaning is not confined to grand roles. It is born in the spirit with which we perform even the simplest tasks. To find meaning in small things, cultivate awareness. Slow down enough to notice details, the aroma of coffee, the laughter of children, the pattern of leaves in sunlight. Create rituals that highlight the ordinary: morning gratitude, evening reflection, shared meals without distraction. Practice mindfulness, which trains the mind to return to the present rather than chasing the next big event. The more you notice, the more you realize that life is saturated with quiet significance. When you learn to find meaning in small things, you free yourself from the exhausting chase for more. You no longer need extraordinary achievements to justify your existence. You realize that life is already enough, that meaning does not depend on external applause, but on internal awareness. This freedom allows you to pursue goals with joy rather than desperation, because you are no longer waiting for them to grant meaning, you already live in it. The Stoics often emphasize the significance of small daily actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste the remainder of your life in thoughts about others when you do not refer your actions to some common good." For him, meaning was not found in spectacle, but in living each moment with virtue. Epictetus reminded his students that greatness lies in ordinary discipline, controlling impulses, speaking truthfully, practicing kindness. Seneca observed that life is long enough if used wisely, implying that small conscious acts accumulate into a life of value. To live stoically is to see no act as too small to embody virtue. Each choice to be patient, honest, or compassionate transforms the mundane into the meaningful. In this way, the Stoic finds richness not in distant glory, but in the texture of each ordinary day. When we hear the word legacy, we often imagine something left behind after death, a foundation, a monument, or a fortune passed to future generations. But legacy is not just what happens after we are gone. Legacy is being written every day in the choices we make, the values we embody, and the impact we leave on the people around us. To live as an ongoing legacy means to understand that your life is not merely your own, it is also a gift, an influence, and a story woven into the lives of others. Too many people postpone thinking about legacy, imagining it belongs to the distant future or to extraordinary figures. But the truth is every conversation, every action, every decision leaves a trace. The way you treat a stranger, the way you respond to adversity, the way you nurture your family or community. These are bricks in the structure of your legacy. You do not need fame or wealth to build it. You only need awareness that you are shaping it now. At its core, legacy is relational. Few people are remembered for their possessions, but almost everyone is remembered for how they made others feel. A teacher's encouragement may inspire a student's lifelong confidence. A friend's presence in hard times may plant seeds of resilience. A parent's daily acts of love may echo through generations. To live as an ongoing legacy is to realize that every interaction carries the potential to leave behind something meaningful. Legacy is less about accomplishments than about values. Achievements may fade with time, but values endure through influence. If you live with integrity, courage, compassion, and generosity, those around you absorb these qualities and pass them forward. In this sense, legacy is contagious. It spreads not by proclamation, but by quiet example. Ask yourself, if someone were to describe my life in one sentence, what values would they see reflected? This question shifts focus from what will I achieve to who am I becoming each day? Living as a legacy does not require dramatic acts. It unfolds in the ordinary, holding the door for someone offering patience instead of irritation, practicing fairness when no one is watching. These are legacy acts. They may seem small, but they ripple outward. A child who observes kindness learns to be kind. A colleague who experiences honesty is encouraged to practice honesty. The echo of these moments is your ongoing legacy. Thinking about legacy naturally leads us to consider mortality. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also clarifying. Knowing life is finite sharpens attention to how we live. If today were your last day, What would you want others to remember? This reflection is not meant to create anxiety, but to awaken intention. Mortality makes legacy urgent. It reminds us not to wait for the perfect moment to live meaningfully, because every moment is part of the story. Consider Lila a grandmother in her 70s. She never built a business empire or wrote a best-selling book, yet her legacy is vast. She spent decades cooking meals for her family, volunteering at her local shelter, and mentoring neighborhood children. Now grown, those children describe how her encouragement changed the trajectory of their lives. Her grandchildren carry her traditions forward. Her community remembers her generosity. Lila's legacy is not measured in wealth or recognition, but in the countless lives quietly touched by her consistent love. Her story reminds us legacy is not about scale, but about sincerity. Creating your ongoing legacy, clarify the principles you want to live by. Write them down, revisit them, and let them guide your choices. Legacy grows through repetition. Align your daily actions with your values, even when unnoticed. Prioritize relationships over possessions. Time, attention, and encouragement are the most enduring gifts you can give. Do not underestimate the power of your journey. Sharing struggles and lessons helps others navigate their own. Remember that legacy is not a distant destination. It is unfolding now in this moment through what you choose to say and do. Living as an ongoing legacy brings freedom. Instead of being consumed by outcomes you cannot control, wealth, reputation, recognition, you focus on what you can give and who you can be. This shift lightens the pressure of external validation and roots meaning in daily life. You no longer live just for yourself, but as part of a larger continuum. The Stoics viewed life itself as a legacy in motion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." His point was simple. Your legacy is not built in theory, but in action. Seneca emphasized that life is long enough if lived wisely, and that our influence endures through the character we display, not the monuments we leave. Epictetus taught that the best inheritance we can give is virtue because it is the only thing that cannot be taken away. From a Stoic lens, to live as an ongoing legacy is to practice virtue daily, regardless of recognition. It is to remember that though we cannot control how we will be remembered, we can control how we live now, and that is legacy enough. We began this journey with a simple but profound question. What would it look like if your life itself were your masterpiece over the course of 12 parts? We explored the many dimensions of living with intention, transforming limits, finding gratitude, embracing presence, facing pain and change with courage, and discovering meaning not only in great achievements, but in the smallest of daily acts. What emerges from all of these reflections is a central truth. A meaningful life is not defined by what we accumulate or by the trophies we display, but by the person we become through the process of living. Every choice, every hardship, every act of kindness is a brushstroke on the canvas of our existence. When we live consciously, these brushstrokes form a picture of resilience, wisdom, and love. We learn that overcoming imaginary limits frees us to grow beyond self-imposed barriers. Staying close to what makes us feel lucky grounds us in gratitude and joy. Facing misfortune with dignity shows us that even pain can become a teacher. Focusing on the journey rather than the destination reminds us that the path itself shapes our character. Presence gives us peace, while transformation of pain gives us strength. Gratitude renews our energy. Letting go of control gives us freedom, and courage in change allows us to adapt. By finding meaning in small things, We stop waiting for life to be extraordinary and realize that it already is. And by living as an ongoing legacy, we remember that our lives echo beyond ourselves in the hearts of others. Taken together, these lessons form a philosophy of everyday living. It is not about escaping hardship or chasing perfection. It is about cultivating awareness, practicing virtue, and embracing both the light and the shadows of existence. This way of living does not require wealth, fame, or extraordinary talent. It requires only the courage to be present, the humility to be grateful, and the determination to act with integrity in the face of whatever life brings. The Stoics, whose wisdom has guided us along the way, understood this well. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that life is short and uncertain, but virtue is always within reach. Epictetus taught that freedom lies in focusing on what we can control, our actions and our character. Seneca reminded us that life is long enough if lived with purpose. Their voices echo across centuries, urging us to live now, to live well, and to live fully. So as you reflect on your own life, ask yourself, what kind of masterpiece am I painting today? What brushstrokes of kindness, courage, gratitude, and presence will I add before the day ends? Remember, your legacy is not waiting in the future. It is unfolding in every moment. May you live it with intention, and may your life in all its imperfections become the masterpiece only you can create.